Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. And first and foremost, I want to say call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods, my Father above. Much love to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, our Savior and our Redeemer. Much love to him. And shout out to the beautiful children of Israel and the prophets, mainly, whoever they may be, for them pushing the word and, going day and night and constantly sending out the news and, constantly staying vigilant, keeping people ready, reminding people of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and his love and his anger, and the prophecies to come. Much love to the beautiful Akim, the brothers that's in the word, that you may not be from a camp, but you still push the word. You go to the highways and byways to the best of your abilities. You show Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, you fear him and you love him. Much love to you brothers. Much love to you sisters, the Akwaf, the beautiful women that's in the word. And it's not a lot of y'all. Whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. You listen and you learn in silence. Now, today's title is I don't know. I don't really have a title. I'm just gonna give some updates and stuff. That's what's going on. Various topics. You could put that. I see prophets doing that. Just a bunch of topics and the stuff that's going on nowadays. Or we can actually wait. It's coming to mind. We can make the title Outcast or Rejection. Yes, rejection, because right now we're in the fall of the white man, and he's not just falling out of rule, he's falling out of the world. The very world itself is starting to reject him. Year after year, one of these guys had brought up a very crucial topic. And it was about the earth itself. It's getting hotter. It's heating up more. So that was a huge indicator. More proof of prophecy. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is turning the heat up. He is making the environment much hotter. And with all these disasters and all that, and the changes that's coming upon the world, like geology-wise, environment-wise. The very world itself is changing, but it's not for worse. It's actually for the better. It's benefiting more melanated people, and benefiting the Israelites and the melanated people below them more. So right now that rejection is kicking in more and more from the earth itself. And these white people, they're having a harder and harder time dwelling on the earth, and like the Bible said, we living in that. Well, like the Bible said, they was living in caves. It's called Petra, or Edom, in Africa, and it's a big. It looked like a big ass fucking. To me, it reminds me of a big ass castle, stuck in a cave. It's carved out, but it leads inside the earth and deep underground. But that prophecy can actually be for now, if it goes too far, if it goes further than what it's supposed to. How you doing? The last Metro PCS I saw is down the street. It's a shopping district not too far from here. So you could go further down. It should be a Metro PCS from what I remember. Shalom, sister. You know you're Israelite? I said, do you know you're Israelite from the Bible? Much love to you. Stay blessed, okay? Have a good day. But yeah, check. And it should be one from what I remember down there. Yeah. Yeah, but the world, itself is actually changing once again. And another topic that's been brought up is Another topic that was brought up is the California San Andreas Fault is yet again, and they haven't brought this up in a while, but San Andreas Fault is on earthquake watch, a serious earthquake watch right now. According to the estimates and the calculations that they got, San Andreas is long overdue for earthquake, and right now they had rebroadcasted for the people of California to watch out for San Andreas Fault, which is obviously it's going to have a major reported over 10,000 earthquakes. So it can be like Boxing Day. And I don't know if you heard of Boxing Day. Boxing Day was one of those days where it had one of the biggest earthquakes in the whole world felt it. You know, big ass earthquakes. You know, so it was reported to have over 10,000 earthquakes. That's going to shockwave throughout the world, pretty much. You know, mainly, you know, United States, but the world is going to feel that shockwave when California is supposed to break off. California from the Bay Area to San Francisco on down, supposed to break off into the ocean. Either it'll vanish into the water, you know, or it'll become its own island, you know, and certain parts of it will vanish. Another scary part was the process of an earthquake. You know, I was studying it a little bit, and then it was something about liquidation, meaning that earthquakes can become so violent and so big that pieces would break off. And not only that, the surfaces that are not stable enough, or, you know, they could be hollow underground or anything, it will cause the ground to be like quicksand. So buildings that have too much pressure, they would crumble and they would sink into the ground, you know. So that right there is, you know, very scary, you know, because of the environment and the changes that's happening with the coastlines. You know, personally, it is very dangerous to be around these coastlines like Miami. I think it was Louisiana. I do believe they was dealing with a flood a week or two ago. Very, very big flood. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know, but I think it was Louisiana. I think so, like a part of Louisiana. I don't know. But I have to relook it up again. It was a couple of weeks ago. But a lot of changes is coming to the world, and it might seem bad. You know, it might seem bad, but it's actually a good thing. And let's see. We can get that right now, because I don't want to chop it up. So give me a moment to flip out the old internet. High-speed internet to look up precepts, you know. Sure, I haven't been out in like 3 weeks because I pulled my leg, and I was supposed to do more, but I didn't. I just didn't feel the spirit on me, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm used to being out, like, you know, outside doing it. I do a lot of videos where I show a lot of stuff, but I don't think YouTube is actually, you know, putting it up there, showing it. They burying it, and then I got to do more to broadcast my videos and stuff. So, like, a lot of my videos really don't get any traction. Even my highways and byways videos don't get too much traction, but I'm fine with that. You know, here a little, there a little, one or two people that listen, you know, 5 or 6 people at random, you know, but as long as the message is getting out there any way it can. You know, I tell people on the street now, I'm no longer afraid to do much of that. You know, I just let them know. And whether they accept it or reject it, it's not up to me. As long as they got it, as long as they receive it, that's it. You know, so let's go. Let's go. Because the changes on this earth, it actually has to be, you gotta pay attention to the things that's happening on the earth. Now, right now, a lot of people, you know, they kind of get startled from the events, but, you know, a lot of these Bible prophecies, they gotta take place when Yahweh allows them to take place at their perfect timings and in its perfection. So a lot of these things do take a lot of time. You know, it's not going to just be something that just abruptly happens and one thing after another. That's most likely at the latter end, where a lot of the curses, a lot of the judgments just keep hitting and keep hitting. But for right now, we got a lot of prophecies that's happening, and they happen in their time. So, you know, we in that time to where, you know, World War III, you know, the persecution of our people, the Lord is actually starting with the house of Israel right now. So we starting to catch different judgments right now. You know, one of the main factors is Issachar and Ephraim, which is the Hispanics, you know, Venezuelans, and other ethnics that got a lot to do with our Mexican brothers and sisters. They starting to catch a lot of hell, you know, from Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and it's well deserved, sadly. You know, for some people that this is talking about the shit that happened when they voted for Trump instead of Carmilla. You know, to be honest, I don't really care too much about politics. I feel like they should have revolted this year. This should have been in a year, but it's not time yet. I feel like they should have. I feel like they should have revolted, but you know, everybody was gonna go for Camilla, but the Hispanics actually went for Donald Trump through, you know, they claim white supremacy instead of their own ethnic, which is brown or black. You know, brown and black is pretty much the same thing. I don't really know where brown pride came from, because, you know, on the black people side, it's different shades of black and brown. So, you know, they are the same. The Mexicans and the blacks are the same. Northern and Southern Kingdom, you know, they are the same. They all Israelites, they all black, they all niggas. And after Donald Trump won and he started putting down these, changing the laws and attacking, you know, the Hispanics and the immigrants, and just trying to destroy birthright citizenship, they kind of look stupid, you know, because they claimed the ethnic that they felt like that was on their side, and it come to find out they were reminded that they were niggas and they come from that lineage, and the white man is aware that they are black people. You know, they are black people and tribal people that's been living here, and their skin was a lot darker before, you know, the white people came. So they had to remind them of who they are, and they got put in a place. Now it's like a big ass scramble, because a lot of the people that Joe Biden let in like 3-4 years ago, there's a lot of them was Israelites, you know, Mexicans that's coming from Venezuela, you know, Mexico, just different places, diverse places, even Hamites, you know, Hamites, what's that called? Hamites, the Chinese, you know, Japanese, Indian, you know, a lot of people came and they didn't have green cards. They were just immigrants, and they were living off the land, you know, and they just wanted to have an opportunity. They wanted to live a better life, and there was nothing wrong with that. But, you know, Camilla was actually, I think she was going to allow them to stay. But, you know, when they voted for Donald Trump to start cleaning them out. And it's a huge number of the Mexicans and the Negroes that was coming over, and it was Israelites. So, you know, a lot of the niggas, you know, we dominate America, you know, so it makes them look smaller, it makes them look weaker, as they should. And one of the guys had said something that was really true. You know, if the Mexicans, this is a perspective, but the Lord wouldn't allow it unless they come to him. See, this is what it's all about. It's about Yahweh Shem Yahushai and them going through the Lord to get their victories instead of depending on themselves. So that's what Yahweh wants them to do, you know, so he's not going to allow them to do anything until they turn to him. So it makes perfect sense on why he creates confusion, diversity, different arguments, different states of mind, different ideologies, different religions. He keeps that in the gap because he's not going to allow it unless the Israelites come through him. They come all in one, and they come through him, and they come to worship for repentance and forgiveness, and to give Yahweh the love that he does deserve. So, you know, but the man did make sense if the Hispanics came together with the blacks, and they pretty much and the Indians too. They all three of those pretty much make up the entire populace of America, they would be able to take over the white people because they're not a big faction like people think they are. They're not incredibly big. They don't have a gigantic populace like people think they do. Even if you go to, certain places outside of America or certain places in America where it's all white, they're not big groups. They're not massive populations like the Israelites are, so they can be overrun. They can be taken out. They can be taken over through politics, different laws, boycotts, through people just not working, through people coming together. They don't apply nothing to this society, which is already crumbling, but they would be able to take over without a problem. Even if it was a war, even if it was a war, the Israelites would be able to overcome because it's just too many of them. Like how about Shimei said, if a man can count the sand on the seashore, and that would be the number of the Israelites. And the only person that can count the sand on the seashore is Yahweh Shimei, is the Lord. He knows the actual estimate number of the populace of the Israelites and just how massive they are, because we got scattered throughout the whole world. So, throughout the entire world. So it's Israelites everywhere, and if they were all to come together, it would be hard. They would take up like 2, 3, 4 continents, They probably take up the entire world, which they do, but, he did make a lot of sense when he said that. But back to the earthquake thing, this is Isaiah 24, verse 20. It says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So it's talking about an earthquake, and then it could be talking about the world as it is today, this world as it is today. And it's talking about 2 different earthquakes. It's talking about the earthquakes that's coming from, the earthquakes that's coming from the underground, and then you got the earthquake coming from the nuclear event. And the nuclear event is going to be the big one. That's going to be the earthquake that's going to shake the world like a drunkard, make concrete look like water, It's going to be that fucking massive. But it's two different sides. You got the old world, and then you got the new world. So this could be talking about the old world collapsing and not rising again, because this world that's passing away right now ain't coming back. So the next world to come, and I was watching this fucking TV show called Paradise, and on Paradise, it was showing that the underground, the truth about the underground cities, and the truth about what was going on, what the Bible is talking about is dead on. And it was referring to the nuclear event, and how the elites, they all agreed to use the nuclear bombs to depopulate and to destroy the populace, to take them down from 8.5 billion people, if I'm wrong, 8.2 billion people to what do you say, 5,000? No, 50,000 people, or no, 500,000 people. I do believe, if I'm wrong. But around that populace of people that's around the world. But something went wrong, or something that they didn't see coming. After the nuclear bombs went off, the people survived, which is referring to the Israelites and the black people, and life in general survived. And they've been down there for like 5 years, and they had went up, and they discovered that people were surviving, even though it was a Mad Max scenario. I know we all seen Mad Max, and there was a dog-eat-dog moral, but it was still survival. It was still life. So the Bible does talk about that. Even after the nuclear bomb went off, after the lake of fire was created, all of that shit receded. It'll probably take over like 100 years. Because time moved different, when, the chosen get on the chariots, the elect get on the chariots, these chosen people get on the chariots, one day in the eyes of the Lord is 1,000 years. So it could be like a couple of hours. What they say, an hour is 72 years in the time, in the eyes of the Lord. So each hour that you spend, you could spend 5-6 hours on them chariots, or, in heaven, and it could be like over 300-700 years done fucking passed by already. Time don't move the same as it does on the ground. You know, so we can get that too. You know, so when all that does happen, by the time they come out that ground, you know, which is probably be like 80, 90 to 100 years or in some change or a little bit more, by the time they come out the ground, they're going to realize that the Israelites had already taken over the planet, and everything is better. It's a new world, but the only thing is that it's no white people. So when they come up out the ground, the world is healing because the rightful rulers are established. You got Yahweh Shai. No, you got Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And then you got Yahweh Shai. You got the angels. You know, you got King David, you know, that's running everything with the 12 prophets, you know, and the 12 tribes of Israel. And they kings and they princes and they queens and they children. And they done scattered throughout the whole world. And these different bunkers gonna get dug up. And what's gonna happen is all these people that was hiding in them underground cities, you know, not only they plans flop, but they came back and encountered something unimaginable. The world had changed so much to the where the black people was running it and it was still there. So that was one of the cosmic jokes. So we're gonna get that. It says, this is second book of Peter's, chapter 3, verse 38. It says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So that right there, time moved differently. And you know, you got all kind of stories about the underground about the hollow earth theory, because the hollow earth theory is real. You know, you got people like Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai said. Let me get to that. I don't know, but it's in the Bible somewhere. But it says there are people that live in the heavens. There are people that live on the earth, and then there are people that live beneath it. So it's talking about the people that live. You know, no, it's life underground. It's life in the hollow earth. You know, and the days don't run the same as. The days don't run the same as the surfings does. It's entirely different too. You know, I was watching what's that? Godzilla. I forgot. It's like a monster file. I don't know, but this guy, this woman, she got stuck in hollow earth, and when she came out, it was like 20 years later, and she was looking. Her boyfriend had found her. And come to find out, he was an old-ass man by the time she met him again. By the time they came to rescue her. And she was still like 20, 21, 22 in the story. So time runs completely different down there. They call it Gaia or Agartha. But, you know, I'm saying how fast time is going to move when this thing happens. And, you know, after a nuclear event happens, the old world is going to immediately pass away. So time is going to change. The days are going to change. The years are going to change. It's not going to be no more It's not going to be no more holidays. It's not going to be no more years. It's not going to be no more Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not going to be no more clocks to keep track of the time. None of it is going to matter anymore, you know? All of this stuff that, you know, the white man had did, and all of this stuff and all these changes that he made is going to blow away with it. And the world is going to outcast him. So, you know, it's going to drive a lot of these white people mad for them to meet reality. But, you know, anyways, come to find out in this show called Paradise, the president, he was about to rat and tell everybody the truth that was down there, and tell them the things that they discovered. They discovered that people was still on the surface and people were surviving. People was alive. And at the surface had the nuclear energy and all of that shit had, it didn't really clear up, but it cleared up enough for people to survive, you know? And people made it, you know? Society and the world is continuing on without these elites, and they living underground. So he was assassinated for that. And another secret had came out, come to find out that, that the underground cities was a scam. So that was another one. So that was another one. They didn't want people to realize that, because people will go back to the surface. But, you know, like the Bible said, it's funny that the Bible say that when they come out of the surface, when they come out to the surface, or, you know, the Israelites go and get them, or however this going to go, you know, the Israelites they're going to come up into the new world, and they going to realize how long they've been down there. And the black people, the Israelites, they going to be here, and they done took over the world. They done took over the world, and what seemed to them like a couple of years, you know, inside the earth, it was actually probably like 50 to 100 years. You know, time moved differently, and then a lot of that, you know, they gonna have to come out them holes at some point. You know, their resources gonna die out. You know, they probably only got enough technology to probably last them only for so long. You know, a lot of the foods and a lot of the stuff, you know, the resources is counterfeit. So you got people, the real food gonna run out while they living off GMOs and shit. You know, they living off fake food and all of that. That was in there too. A lot of the food that was on the show was fake. It was made by scientists, you know, and them people, they had the mark of the beast too. They had the beast too, but it was in the form of a watch. They didn't want to show you all that. So it says right here. It says, this is Amos chapter 9, verse 2. It says, though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence my hand will bring them down. Because you're going, not only, they getting real smart. You know, they trying to find out, you know, whether they should try and go to another planet, which they going to try that too. They're going to try to go up. And then they're going to try to go down. So you got people that ain't going to want to go to another planet or go into outer space, because it's too many risks. They're going to stay on the earth, and then you're going to have elites that's going to go up into the sky. But the Lord is going to bring them down. You know, they're not going to be able to make it in outer space. Too many dangers, too many things of the unknown that they don't know is up there. You know, Yahweh Shem Yahshai up there, the angels is up there. They can just shoot them down. And that's exactly what's going to happen too. But, you know, the world is going to cast them out, you know, and we can get that too. Like right now, what's happening right now, population is becoming much weak, and through like I said, the geography of the world and a lot of things that's changing, you know, you're gonna see a lot more of us thrive, and a lot more of us make it, and a lot more of us multiplying. Trillions of Israelites. They're gonna be fucking everywhere. We're gonna be everywhere, and they're gonna be dying off from just being simply overheated. They're going to be driven into caves. They're going to be overcooked. But, hey, shoot, during that time, they still going to have to come out, and they still going to slave. And the sun is going to scorch them. The sun is going to burn the shit out of them while they slaving and while they living on the earth. Because, like I said, it's going to be extremely hot. So, in the next life, I wouldn't be surprised if the Israelites was a whole lot darker. They was a whole lot darker. We was a whole lot more dark-skinned because our skin is adapted to the sun. So the hotter the sun gets, the darker our skin will become. And that's exactly, the world is reforming back to the way it was in ancient times when it was so hot, that there was no white man dwelling on the earth. There was no white people, no such thing. There was no such thing, and it's going to come back to that. So what I was going to see... This is Luke chapter 10, verse 18. It says, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. It says the statement, wait. It says, and he said to them, I was beholding Satan falling as lightning from heaven. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from heaven. Well, my thing is dying, so it ain't giving me too much. But yeah, and it's not meaning that he falling from, it's two different meanings. He gonna fall during the war in heaven. He gonna get blown out of the sky, and then the other one is that he's going broke. He's losing resources. These nations is working day and night to get rid of Babylon, to get rid of the white man for good. So right now, the nations is improving around America, and America is becoming a second rate to a third rate to a fourth world country. It's not going to last. It's going to be gone, and right now as we speak, it's becoming much worse and much worse, and their populations is dying, and right now they're being outcast. So it's different countries in Africa, different places in Africa that's outcasting the white people, and they call them South Africans and different other Africans. Like they said, Elon Musk is also from Africa, and right now what's going on in Africa, they're trying to get rid of the white people because they know that they're a problem. And like how about Shimei Al-Shai said, the whole world would turn against you. The world wouldn't want you anymore, and the world is even in anguish because of the rulers that's running this place. And all they doing is destroying people, robbing people, killing people, oppressing people. Shit, they even oppressing their own. Now it's about materialism and greed. They want to keep everything that they got. They don't want to give it up. Like the man said, if you would have gave reparations, it would have been a lot more. This shit would have ended a lot more better for them. But by them paying back reparations, they would go bankrupt. They know how expensive slavery was. They know what they did to the Israelites. They know how bad that shit was. They know how. They know just how much foundation that they done built off them and off the backs of the Israelites, and lived off them deliciously. Fucking thrived off them, man. To this day, places like McDonald's, places like Chevron, banks like Wells Fargo, Chase, all of this got slavery backgrounds. They done been here for a long ass time, getting rich off of them. So, by them giving up all their riches and everything, they're going to go bankrupt, and they would collapse by paying the Israelites back, and then all the power would go to us, and we would be running everything. But right now, we do run everything, but, we can't fully take it over unless we come through Yahweh Shemel Al-Shai. So the Lord he's going to be the one that's going to be able to do it. We can't do it without him, This is Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It says, it signifies that people are... Wait. Man, if you don't get... Well, I know this one. It says, this is in Proverbs chapter 1, chapter 2... No, chapter 4. I think... no, verse 4. Chapter 1, verse 4. Somewhere around there, it says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So, how y'all doing? Shalom. Y'all know y'all Israelites? Like from the Bible, Well, much blessings to you. Shalom. Shalom. That's cool. Much blessings. But, it says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You know, so what they don't know is what's going to get them killed, you know. And right now, evidently, the world and all the Israelites, they kind of catching on. They're kind of becoming more and more aware. But it's a lot of them that is still rejecting Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, still moving on, still doing what they feel like they doing whatever they want and believing in whatever they believe in. But like I said, and the things that's happening on the earth, you know, this is where it's gonna get scary at. These prophecies is gonna become extremely more vivid. They're gonna become more and more terrifying. And you know, we haven't even got to the the bad prophecies yet. You know, we are living in bad times, but in the eyes of those of us that believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, we believe in Israel. You know, I mean, we believe in the Lord. We know we Israelites. We know that these are good times. Shit, these are the best times to live in because we get to see the magnificence of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and His mighty hand. You know, so, but for the Israelites that don't understand what's going on, they're going to experience an extreme fear that they've never encountered before. Or it's not they encountered it, they forgot about it. You know, and the Lord is going to come and really go to town on His people. You know, you notice how I asked that lady and she said hi. And when I told her that she was an Israelite, she ignored me and she acted like she didn't hear me. You know, that's a spiritual blockage. And it's showing you that they don't care about that. What they care about is whatever's in their face. And like they said, the people weren't mindful of the scourges. You know, the plagues are sent for scourges of amendment, but people weren't mindful of the plagues or the scourge of the scourges. They weren't aware that it was happening, that it was that bad. And right now we got, you know, the white man sinking right now. So America is going with it, you know, and the Israelites, they not aware of what's happening. A lot of them don't believe in what's happening. They don't believe what they see with their own eyes. Like right now, the collapse is great with the white man. So he's starting to cut off a lot of jobs. He's starting to cut off a lot of programs to save the money, you know, to conserve all the money. He's trying to make sure that the underground cities is built carefully, you know, made right. So they or them spaceships is made right. So they sure that they can escape when they do this nuclear event, you know. He knows that his population is dying. They call it we call it a blackout. They're being blacked out because a lot of the women that's supposed to be dating these white men, a lot of the white women are dating black people. Their children is coming out black, you know, or white, you know, and they look white, but they black, you know, because Israel can be a speckled bird. You know, one black man can have a bunch of babies. He can have a red baby. He can have a dark baby. He can have an albino baby. He can have a yellow baby. You know, different colors of children can come from the black guy. Like he said, for the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. Everything come from Israel. Everything comes from the Israelites. Everything, we made everything. Literally everything. We were there in the beginning of the Bible. You know, when Yahweh Hashem Yahushua made Yahweh Shai, then he made the angels, you know, and the angels created everything else. A lot of those angels was the spirits of the chosen, you know, the prophets. You know, prophets was among that brigade of angels that came down here and created everything. So it's a lot of these prophets and a lot of these people that are chosen that was here on day one. And, you know, most of us was there. Thousands upon millions and millions and millions without number was created. You know, a lot of us came down here. You know, a lot of us was created from the angels and put down here to live. And, you know, that made us Israelites and angels in human form. Like I said, for the angels, which not kept their own estate, but were reserved into everlasting chains of darkness until the great and terrible day. You know, a lot of these angels, when they come down as black people, you know. I mean, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua can work through anybody, can come through anybody, can send you signs from anywhere, from anything, you know. But, you know, a lot of the angels would rather come down as the Israelites, as the black people, you know. And a lot of all the prophets are black. They all black. Like I said in the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1. And when they came from Antioch and the people saw them, that was calling them niggers, and nigger meant dark-skinned person. You know, back in the days, you know, nigger meant dark-skinned person, and it wasn't a disrespectful term. They didn't use it as a disrespectful term back in those days. But, during over time, it became more disrespectful over time. So, it became that byword that stuck to us over time. But, all in all, it's a good thing. It's a good time to live. Right now, black man is like the fucking lead of the world, man. Like I said, everything comes from us all the way on down. From the music to these wonderful inventions that created this modern world. Simple stuff like security, all the way to GPS, from video games to phones. All of that came from the Israelites. All of that came from black people. We are the very foundation of this world. Like how Hashem Yahushua said, you are the salt of the earth. If you take away the salt, then the earth ain't got no flavor. So we are the flavor of the earth. You got all these nations and shit that's fucking a lot of these nations that ain't even from America. They don't even know about black people because they heard about it. Now they saying nigga. Places in China, places in fucking not New York, places in Hong Kong, Japan, all the way on down. Rumors that I heard in Germany, I do believe, or in Switzerland, motherfuckers done adapted that Afrocentric culture, baggy jeans, the tapers, the hairdos, the lineups, are very attired, the gold chains, trying to adapt our physique, trying to become us, and it's a shame, like I said, our people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. It's a shame that our people do not acknowledge Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. It's a shame that they don't acknowledge the Lord, They got to acknowledge him, because Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is the reason why they being put on a pedestal. Like Yahweh Hashem Yahushua said, Israel is a house on, I think he said Israel is a palace on a hill or whatever. Like, you stand out. They stand out more than any other race, with our culture, with our inventions, are just us being us in general. We stand out extremely more, So we can get a couple of things from the Bible. And everybody knows that the reason why the white man is fallen is because everybody knows that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has sent judgment upon them. But they call him God, and they call his son Jesus. They don't know the name that gives. They don't know the name of the power, which is disrespectful. So, out of all this time, you got people calling him God, and God can mean any God. If you really put it in words to use, we don't know what you worship if you don't know the name of your God. So how in the hell, the Indonesians worship, I think, Ishtar. I think, you got the Chinese people, they worship Buddha. Their God's got a name. Fucking the Africans and witchcraft stories, they worship Papa Legba. That's a god. So how in the hell you come to America, or you go to England, and or mainly in America, speaking, and they God name is just God. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, your God has to have a name. Like, who do you worship? Because if you say God, then you could be referring to any God. At that point, we don't know who you worship. Your God has to have a name. And that was one thing that the white man had took, was Yahweh Hashem Yahushua's name out the book, and his son Yahweh Shai out the book. But if you read the Paleo Hebrew, his name transfers to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and his son Yahweh Shai. What they call us, the Yasharallah. What they call the Yasharallah. What was that other name that they called the angels? It's referring to the power, the Alahayim. Alahayim. They call the Lord Ali Shaidra. That's another name for the Lord, Ali Shaidra, which is the demonic power of Israel. The Alahayim, the chief, or the powers that be. So it says, behold, it says, this is Isaiah 24, verse 1, it says, behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty. It says, and maketh it waste, and he turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants. So all of this shit is going on. All of this shit is going on. He about to destroy everything at this point. Everything. He about to destroy everything at this point. It says, and it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, and as with the lender, so with the borrower, and as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. A lot of this shit is about to collapse. And it ain't nothing new, but this one is like a big deal, you know? It's a big deal, bro, because this is going to be the last time a lot of this shit exists. Now, we don't know what type of form, you know, the money might have Yahweh Shem Shai's face on it next time, most likely, or King David's face on it next time. The currency and everything itself, like the rules and all of that shit is still going to be here, but, you know, not the laws and all that, but I'm just saying, you know, buying houses, cars, but everything is going to be in another form, another fashion. And it's going to be for the Israelites, it's going to be way better. You know, and for the kingdoms, because the Israelites is in rule, everything is going to be much better, you know. But they not going to be in the same state as they were back then. You know, right now in this time, how the nations is different powers and they control the world however they control it and however they will. Come to find out they all together are part of this damn scheme to destroy the world, to kill all the people and hurt the world itself. You know, they're not going to be like that in the next world, or for those of us that die in the next life. You know, when we born, and those of us that make it and we born into the next life, we're gonna be way better, and we're not gonna have to worry about all of this, you know. So it says Yahweh the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken his word. The earth mourneth and faded away. The world languisheth and faded away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. So these haughty people are these white people that run the world. They're the ones that's going to suffer. And he's talking about their world. Our world is going to be the new world to come. And Israel itself, you know, a lot of us going to die, but it's going to be a lot of us that make it and survive. And we don't have to die to get to the next world. You know, a lot of us is gonna make it, and we will survive, and we're gonna live to see our people, you know, free, you know, our people out of bondage, or people with their riches back, with their treasures back, and then we're gonna be able to see our enemies go into slavery, because they're not gonna just die; they're gonna go into slavery. And like I said in the book of Revelation, he that leadeth captivity must go into captivity. He who killeth with the sword, they must be killed with the sword. This is the faith and the patience of the saints. So, and that also reminds me, like, when you die, you're supposed to forget about everything. But if the saints is up there praying, you know, and if the people up there praying and begging Yahweh Shem Shai to deal with the enemy on earth, you know, then, you know, it kind of sparked in my mind that when you die and go to heaven, you remember. And I feel like only then, when you're born again, do you forget, you know? But when you up in heaven and all that, you remember everything. You probably remember your death and what you went through. But when you're born again, that's when you forget. I don't know. It's just a thought, you know. I don't know if that's canon or not, but, you know, it's just a thought, you know. But, you know, to each his own, you know, that's what's going to happen. So it says the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. That's right. The people that rule it is defiling the earth. They killing off animals. They cutting all these trees down. Oh, he ain't gonna listen. They cutting all these trees down, you know. They done moved the Israelites, which is the pillar of the world, out of their place. You know, they don't want to give back their riches. They don't want to give back nothing. You know, it's nothing but garbage and oil in the sea and radiation in the sea. You know, the very sky itself is controlled with chemicals. You know, so whenever they want the clouds to come, whenever they want rain, they put harmful chemicals in the world, in the atmosphere. And they can have rain, they can have clouds, they can do whatever they want. But at the same time, it got serious repercussions, you know. You know, the animals is turning up dead on the sea. You know, certain animals is dying in the air. It result to bigger and fatter storms. These storms is brewing with chemical reaction, making them big ass, violent ass storms. The oxygen is fucked up because the plants are being threatened. There is a lot of shit that they doing, that they destroying the earth, and they making everything bad. So the Lord said, I'm gonna have to destroy all of them. I'm gonna have to get rid of them, destroy them, and destroy their current world. So this whole world gotta go. All of this shit gotta go, and then the new world gotta be ushered in. It says, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. It says, therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So that's the nuclear event. That's the nuclear event, Like the Lord said, you'll be able to count these people on your fingers, of them that remain after the nuclear event. It's not going to be a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of people that die. If you're not on them chariots and you happen to survive, it's not going to be a lot of these people on the ground, But as far as I'm concerned, the Lord is going to destroy a lot of people. It's going to destroy a lot of things. It says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. That's right. Those of us that know the truth, we are actually just trying to wake our people up, but our people not listening. And it's like, damn, like, shit, these motherfuckers don't give a fuck about shit. They don't want to listen. They don't even want to hear the Lord. They don't. It says, the mirth of the tabret cease, the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth, and the joy of the heart cease, because times are getting harder. Right now, times is getting much, much harder, and the struggle is getting much, much real. And the Lord is slowly but surely correcting Israel and putting them in their natural orders, putting them where they're supposed to be. So right now, like they said, over 300,000 jobs are gone, and mainly the females. This is just an example. The females that get them high paid in jobs, they losing their jobs right now. And we don't know if the jobs is going to come back or they going to be able to get their jobs back, but they're gone for now, and these women is coming in a panic because they realize that the government and these white people are doing away with them. They don't really need them anymore, and they're casting them aside. And these females don't know what they doing. They gonna do. Meanwhile, while the black man, the strong black man is different forms, is different versions of us. But the strong black man that's doing good, Yahweh Shem Yahshua is putting them up more and more. And they doing good. They're doing better. We becoming stronger. We live in more simpler lives, a lot more easier, especially for those of us that don't have kids. Well, whether you don't have kids, a lot of women is going to start seeing that. And that's also a precursor of what's going to happen during the end, following the collapse to damn near the nuclear event. A lot of these women going to start seeking these men. Like I said, and seven women shall come to one man saying, take away our reproach and only let us be called by your name, and that's in the book of Isaiah. And they gonna start seeking out these good men, and they're gonna start seeking out these men that they rejected, that they played, that they feel like they was on top. They gonna start seeking them out, and they gonna want to be by them during these dark times. And it's up to the men whether they want them or not. Nowadays it's a lot of men that really don't want these women, are these black women that are just evil, corrupted, fucked up, and the Lord is applying that pressure on them. They're going to start seeking a lot of us men out, especially the men of the Lord, these elect, the ones that's going to survive during the end times. They're going to be seeking them out, and it's not going to be a lot of them. It's not going to be a lot of men that know the truth. It's not going to be a lot of men that know the Bible, that know what's going on. And the men, those of them that did hear about it and they didn't acknowledge, they didn't go out and do nothing about it, they was exposed for it. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai had punished them and cast them out, So it's not going to be a lot of men the men of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that's not going to want them, desire them. So you're going to have a lot of women. And right now, even as we speak, a lot of women are starting to really suffer. A lot of the Eve, our black women, they're starting to really suffer. They're starting to get confronted. They started getting called out, They're starting to get made fun of, because they trusted into white supremacy and got fucked over, because now their service is up. Now the white supremacists don't want them no more. They have no use no more. So now they cutting off their jobs. They're getting rid of them. They're destroying programs. EBT might end up going in the next couple of years, fucking fucking SSI will be probably gone. You know, Section 8 gone. You know, and a lot of our women in the in the low grade class and in the upgrade class, they getting fucked over, man. That's pretty much what's happening, you know, because the white man is running out of time. He running out of money. He running out of power. He running out of population. He's just running out, period. So he doing everything that he can to apply pressure to our people. And in hindsight, this is the mastery and the genius and the perfection of the Lord that's getting everybody in their natural places and their natural orders where they supposed to be. So you're going to have a man, and then you're going to have the woman that's at home, and then you're going to have her taking care of the kids. All of that shit is going to bump right back into order, right back to where it's supposed to be. And it's not going to be like that no more, you know? So it's just I just got into a bunch of various topics, you know, the things that's happening, including the outcast. So you can call it, I'm going to just call it various topics. I'm not going to call it outcast because I didn't really know what title come out. But I had to come out, you know, had to get it out, you know, had to deal with it. You know, it's a beautiful thing to spread the word. It's beautiful to show you how about Shem Yahushua your belief and show him your love. And that way, when things happen, he remember who you are, you know? He knows who you are. How you doing, brother? Shalom. You know you're Israelite? You know you're Israelite? I said, did you know you're Israelite according to the Bible? Yes. That's right. Yeah. Shalom. You stay blessed, man. Have a good day. Thank you. Blessings on blessings. But yeah, you know, to each his own. You know, that's just what it is, and that's just what it's about. You know, at the end of the day, and you know, he running out of time, so he doing all of this scandalous and fucked up ass shit. And meanwhile, Yahweh Shem Yahushai is working on our people, getting them all in order. You know, so that's a blessing. And I'm gonna come back with another episode next weekend. I'm about to go play basketball. I'm about to go and enjoy my day. I just want to give Yahweh Shem Yahushai and Em Yahushai, the Lord, his praise and the respect and the love that he deserves. You know, Yahweh Shem Yahushai is good. The Lord is good. And, you know, with that, on to the next. Shalom.